to my brother and, of course, to our cherished viewers out there. Helen, as a political party that is the National Democratic Congress, we are not only watching with one eye, we are actually watching with both of our eyes. Because this fourth Republican democracy, whichever way you turn it, is one birthed by the National Democratic Congress. Indeed, we led the process that even led to the promulgation of the 1992 Constitution, which is an important bedrock of that democracy. So it is in our interest as a political party to ensure that we perfect the system. It is not for the beauty of songs that it is captured in our manifesto, in our anthem, that the National Democratic Congress would lead Ghana from one stable democracy to another.
Right.
We included it in our party's anthem, not just for the beauty of the words, but to demonstrate commitment to our democratic process. And so for us, we are not watching with one eye. We are watching with both eyes. And we hope that they will play their internal politics in line or in tandem with the democratic injunctions of our country, and most importantly, within the remit of the law. And so that is why we are interested. But when you look at the strange proposals that are being championed by the New Patriotic Party, and if you like, maybe the wing clearly sympathetic to that of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I have had cause to state on other different platforms that what is happening today is not really a commitment on the part of the New Patriotic Party to transform. It is simply an agenda to ensure that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia exercise some level of control, like Nanado did when it comes to the politics of the NPP. They are intimidated and they are uncomfortable. They feel that if care is not taken, the likes of Kennedy Agyapong, Agyapong would make it practically impossible for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to have that leverage that Dr. Nanado, and what's the name, His Excellency Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo had. So this is not in the interest of the New Patriotic Party.
You say it's a strange decision, but this complies with their own party's constitutional provisions. Why are you reading
It is a strange decision because
this
is the first time that they are seeking to do what they call a top-down approach. You simply do not start building a house by putting the roof first when you have not laid down your foundation. So one thing we would have expected for them to do, clearly, they should have gone back to the base, try to work out their way to the top. Because you are dealing with a political party that suffered largely, not just because of the performance of the last administration, and I think that I've made this point severally. It also had to do with the competence of those in charge now. And here I make reference to the National Executive Committee and the National Council. And remember that their decisions culminated to the election of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And so many people had issues with it. There were those who felt that the processes were not fair, the likes of Kennedy and his team, Boacha Jakwe and the likes, and Alan Chirmantel had to even resign from the New Patriotic Party because of the way they conducted that election. So one would have thought that maybe those decisions happened because they were in power. And so a party that is actually committed to transformation and building bridges would have gone back to the basics and seek to rebuild now outside power. Because people would not have that political power, that state power, to influence elections at the constituency level. They would not have that state power to influence elections at the regional level and so the national level as well. So you give people that freedom at the constituency level to be able to elect who they want to represent them at the constituency level. Then these people together, when that transformation is done at the constituency and regional level and national level, then they then also meet to determine who becomes the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. But what we have now, under their so-called top-down, bottom approach is that you are going to have the very people who elected Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to contest the 2024 elections as flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, queuing to elect him again in 2026 January. The same.
So you say that is part of the grander agenda to ensure that Dr. Bawumia is retained as flag bearer?
Absolutely, because everybody can see that his influence is...
You can't read another perspective into it. Let me throw this into the ring. So, for example, the NPP says that if we do get a flag bearer, so this is the top-bottom approach, right? That will foster some more solidarity, that will bring about some much needed leadership. That is the maybe refreshing that the party needs. What about that angle? Is that one that you say is out of place?
That is why I'm telling you that it's a ruse. That explanation is simply a ruse. We are all political observers. We know what is happening. It is not the first time we are watching political trends. And I can tell you that whatever they are saying now is just a ruse. The real intention behind it is simply driven by an agenda to give Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia some leverage of control when it comes to the politics of the NPP. And I say that it is not even in the interest of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and also the New Patriotic Party, because I can assure you that they are failing to respond to the germane issues, actually making it difficult for the party to deliver. Not too long ago, I think a day or two ago, I heard Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia speaking about the implications of religion and ethnicity on the outcome of the last election and making a forceful argument to the effect that indeed he did not lose that election because of the fact that he's a Muslim. I don't know if you heard him.
Yeah.
You see, then again, it raises fundamental issues about his sense of judgment and leadership. Because in that same short clip, he indicated that if indeed there's any report that suggests that he lost because he's a Muslim, by now he would have abandoned that presidential ambition and supported another candidate rather. So two things. It would be an assault on our intellectual capabilities if they actually fail as a political party to sit down and evaluate the potential effect of religion on the outcome of the 2024 election. Because I always believe that this country, we more or less criminalize religion when it comes to our political evaluation or assessment. It is mostly seen as a forbidden area where we should not comment upon. But whether you like it or not, it is a political factor. We need to be interested if indeed the election, the last election, religion played a role. And if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a foresight leader, someone who is actually interested in being a transformative leader, it should have been in his own interest by now to commission a survey, an independent one for that matter, to be able to evaluate whether indeed his religious inclination played a role. And if such findings are made, any transformative leader would ride on the back of that to make changes as to how to approach the next election.
What do you think
he's simply being dismissive.
What would such a survey tell us? What do you think we would
It is possible that the survey would tell us that, yes, clearly, the NPP support base is largely Christian. And so, indeed, they found it difficult to accept Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, that if you are a progressive leader, then you begin to engage them in a more meaningful way to be able to let them accept you. That is the essence of leadership. We've all known that. Look, in University of Ghana, before we went to University of Ghana, we were told those days that it would be difficult for a Muslim to become a SRC president. And indeed, the dynamics showed. From year one, we had an agenda and we said that, look, this is the first, at least let us set that record. Let us challenge the status quo. We presented a Muslim candidate. And fortunately, we campaigned because we knew that we were challenged. We campaigned, we reached out to many of our Christian brothers and explained to them why there was the need for University of Ghana to send that signal that indeed, irrespective of your religious affiliation, you could be given the opportunity to lead the SRC if you demonstrate your ability to do so. As a result of that collaboration, we were given one of the most, if you like, Crife-like running mates, because even many of the Christian blocs on campus suggested a candidate to partner our Muslim SRC presidential aspirant. And interestingly, at the end of that election, they said Muslim candidate won for the first time. So that is how you challenge the status quo. That is how you engage people. So, but if you are being utterly dismissive of the fact that your religious inclination did not play a role, then clearly you are not even willing to contribute meaningfully to the progress of the New Patriotic Party. And for me, that is my worry. And I think that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should be more accepting. He should be more receptive of some of these, concerns being raised, and actually seek to find out whether indeed his religious inclination and ethnicity played a role. Because that is one sure way of making an impact in the next election. And that's an advice I'll give to him as a senior brother. But I can assure you that when it comes to the issues of credibility, Again, that is one aspect that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is lacking. Because indeed, he used the last 16 years of his political life to carve out for himself a very problematic perception as someone who is not reliable, as someone whose words cannot be taken
the entire
seriously.
16-year journey.
Absolutely,
You would say that's
absolutely,
been
absolutely, because that's what he succeeded in doing. Because he sold goodwill messages to the good people of Ghana for 8 years in opposition. And when he was given opportunity as chairman of the economic management team, we all saw and witnessed what that legacy turned out to be. The clear demonstration of unwillingness to speak the truth. Nobody needed to be told. At a point, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's words were not treated with any form of dignity because we were all fed up. So he has a lot of work to do. He has a lot of re-engineering to do as far as his own personality is concerned. But seated in this chair, I am convinced that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will win the NPP's
He's
presidential
up against
premise.
some formidable candidates. You've got Brian Agyapong in the ring.
That is his strength, because whichever way you look at it, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is more humble, even if it is pretense. He carries himself well as far as the internal politics of the NPP is concerned, not confrontational. You can arguably say a gentleman. You can't take those attributes away from him, because I'm sure he's learned from the job. In a way, you can take that away from him. But even in doing our politics, we must be concerned about the future of this country. We are all living witnesses now to what is happening in the United States of America, and the danger that you can subject an entire nation to, depending on your choice of a presidential candidate. So we simply cannot risk, irrespective of the political parties we belong to, whether National Democratic Congress or NPP, we simply cannot risk the likes of Kennedy Agyapong getting closer to the politics of this country, or to the presidency of this country. That is something we must not gamble with. Because apart from the fact that Kennedy lacks that temperament to lead, he himself can be a rogue and instigate people to cause mayhem and destabilize our democracy. We saw it when President Mills was president. His attitude. This was a gentleman who on live TV called on accounts to go out there and assault non-accounts. Even within the internal politics of the NPP, we can see the tension he injects into the politics of the NPP. It is not hidden. So as this democracy, we are all major stakeholders. There must come a time that irrespective of our political party, we all must agree that characters like him must not be given the opportunity to get closer to our presidency. Absolutely not, because that would be an indication that we are willing to subject our democracy to whims, and the NDC will not be part of such a process. So on that basis, I think that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia stands tall, and the likes of Brian. Clearly, this is another gentleman who is relatively young.
That's right.
And so possibly in the future could be in a position to lead the NPP. I believe that he's simply trying to register his presence as far as that contest is concerned.
You think for this time around,
he's preparing? Yes,
he's just preparing the ground.
I believe he's preparing for the future. And in any case, he himself has so much cleaning to do in terms of the issues of corruption. Remember that when President Akufo-Addo was elected president, he told us that if you are going to do business, you should not be welcomed into his government. But not long after that, we realized that even as a cabinet minister, Brian Agyapong was engaged in an unhealthy acquisition of state assets under the guise of trying to partner SNIT. So these are questions that he needs to provide answers to, that at least how he can distance his business interests from state governance. These are crucial questions that we must not take lightly.
Thank you for
So
your
for
thoughts,
now, unfortunately for the New Patriotic Party, I think that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia still stands tall. And for us in the National Democratic Congress, I can assure you that irrespective of the flag bearer they produce in 2024, this is a political party that is committed to defeating the New Patriotic Party once again soundly. And we'll do everything within our power to ensure that Ghanaians give us that support to be able to defeat them soundly.
Thank you so much for your thoughts, Hamza, and for